defendant please rise and face the jury? What is your verdict?
We find the defendant guilty as charged.
Gentlemen, this jury is dismissed.
Court's adjourned. I'll go to see Helen first thing tomorrow morning. I told her not to be disappointed. We'd probably lose this one. Tom.
Yes, Mr. Brooks.
Miss Jean Louise? Miss Jean Louise, stand up. Your father's passing.
Ask you something about Gregory Peck. You met him, right?
Yeah, we did an interview with him. Yes.
Now, what struck you about Gregory Peck?
He was, he was just beyond nice. Called him up and said we want to do the interview, and he said, "Well, come over to my house at such a time." And he said, "Now, which way are you coming?" "I'm a little north of Sunset." I said, "Well, we're west of that." He said, "Okay, now when you're coming along there, you're going to be turning onto my road, and there's a curve. You've got to be very, very careful when you make that left-hand turn onto my street." And he was just like that the whole time. I mean, he was very seriously concerned, like, "I don't want you hurt or getting in an accident on the way." And he was just marvelous. We went over there ostensibly to do his thoughts on Henry King. We were doing a show on Henry King, the overlooked and underrated director who was, around for like 60 years and did some great films. And the one he did with Peck was The Gunfighter. And he said, "No, I'd be delighted." So, of course, when we got there and we're, facing his backyard, and he talked about that, and then said, "Can we talk to you about some other things, other directors?" And he was delighted to do that. Talked about William Wyler and the Big Country, and the fight they had on the Big Country.
What was the fight over?
They didn't talk for 3 years.
Why? What happened?
They were co-producers on it, which Peck said was probably a bad idea, but they decided that, well, I'll look after certain aspects of it, and William Wyler producing will look after those aspects. It will work out fine. But they got to be there was a scene that Peck felt he was not very good in close-ups. He saw the rush. So he said, "Look, Willie, can we go back and redo my close-up? And yeah, we will. He kept asking him, and then they were leaving that location. He said, look, we're leaving the location. I mean, please, I'm begging you, redo that close-up. I'm not very good in it. It's hurting the film. And Wyler never redid that close-up. And they went back to the studio to shoot interiors, and they never talked, actor to director, after that for the entire film.
Wow.
Wyler would just motion to the assistant would talk to Peck would talk to you, and it was not very good. So they ended up on very bad terms at the end of that. And it was a couple of years later, I guess, when Wyler won Best Director for Ben-Hur. And Peck was backstage, and he went over and congratulated Wyler. And Wyler looked at him, he said, I'm still not going to do that damn close-up.
All right. So that's funny, right? That's funny.
That broke the ice. So, and they carried on and reunited and were very good friends after that. But yeah, stuff like that happens. So, but Peck was just, he treated it like a funny story. And he kept saying, it was too bad. Bad Country is not a good film. And they talked about the script problems and that. And I think it's a wonderful film.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the great Westerns, and kept talking about the script problems. I'm going, it's got a great story and a good script, great characters, beautifully directed. Anyway, beyond me, but everybody who worked on the film doesn't think it's very good. Wyler didn't think it was good. Nobody thought it was good. And I just watched it about a month ago and thought, yeah, it's still one of my favorite Westerns.
I don't understand why you don't just shoot the close-up the guy's asking you to do again. I mean, what do you think that there must have been a pre-strike moment on that made him not want to do it, that led up to that. And him just saying, the hell with it.
It may be. I'm going to be in a long shot during that part of the scene anyway. I'm never going to use it. I never did get an answer. Was the close-up actually cut into the film, the one you didn't like?
Right.
Or whether they cut around it or whatever. And Wyler could be fairly obstinate too. I mean, you've heard the stories of him and Betty Davis having a feud on the reading of a line and so forth, and not talking to each other for the rest of the shoot. And Wyler was, no, I'm the boss here. We don't need it. So that's
Peck had a lot of class. Nice to congratulate the winner. Nice to actually have a few laughs after the fact. And
your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.